Welcome back to Chicago and the semifinals of the 2022 LCS Summer Playoffs. Evil Geniuses just had the most dominating game of the series, over a 20,000 gold lead by the end, really sending a message to 100 Thieves.
Absolutely, in both their wins, they absolutely crushed 100 Thieves, so it is going to have to be a big pivot. I don't think we're going to see Lucian let through anymore unless 100 Thieves want to take it away, because that feels like the core component to both these big stomps.
You said it, Flowers. They sent a message to 100 Thieves, and that message was, you're not going to get revenge. It's going to be another Evil Geniuses victory. Yes, like the Lucian ban, the bottom lane, is something that they have been able to control earlier in the series to get their one win, and yet you look across the map, and there are so many other giant issues for them. The blind picked Gangplank from Impact, you cannot do that again.
No.
Giving him full reign like that, he got so fed, blasting away 90% of their HP by the end. Jojo completely styling on them with the Silas as well. Which fire do you put out first?
I mean, it's so difficult. I think you have to try to attack what worked last time, right? I think you have to attack the bot lane because Jojo has so many different picks. Impact, I think, is very comfortable on a variety of picks as well. We don't know if Kaori is going to be as comfortable, if he's going to feel LCS ready on as many different champions.
Right.
The Zeri game, he did get gifted a couple early kills, which was good, but he looked, I think, less comfortable in teamfights on the Zeri than he has on the Lucian.
Right, Lucian and Nami working together, especially with Vulcan being able to land those bubbles, being able to come in clutch on the Nami as well. We know that just like some AD carries are better at scaling versus aggro picks, some supports are better on enchanters versus engage. Vulcan, often known for his engaged champions, his flanks, his playmaking, but he's shown that he can do it on the Nami too, and this combo is frightening.
He's a damn good fisherman, that is for sure. We've got some audio issues.
Oh, let's go, look at this.
That'll solve all your audio issues right there. Bucket on head.
The bucket is out of the LCS studio and it's into Chicago now, man. I gotta say, the dance camp was kind of lit. They got some people with some moves in the crowd. They were going off.
We got some great dancers here. Have they tried putting buckets on the heads of the players? Maybe that will help the audio issues there as well.
If everybody has buckets. I also think we were using so for those of you at home, I don't know if you guys have seen it or not in any of the camera shots. We have a working Jinx rocket launcher, a fishbones, that fires t-shirts out at people. And I was told the t-shirt launcher, you actually have to roll the t-shirts up really tight to fire the projectiles. So we're launching like nuclear t-shirts out to people who were winning the dance contest. It was badass. I really want to shoot the Jinx gun.
Yeah, I do too now, actually.
Yeah, production people, afterwards, I'm just saying, pass me the Jinx gun with lots of t-shirts. It'll be fun. We'll shoot them to the winning team too. Everybody gets t-shirts.
I'm down for it. You can shoot them some like championship winning tees, you know?
Yeah.
Why stop at shirts? I'm gonna deliver everything via fishbones.
LCS trophy, catch.
Launch it over there.
Bucket launcher.
Do not try this at home.
Don't do anything we're actually talking about. I don't want to get us in trouble for giving people bad ideas. But yeah, we got a bit of a delay. Hopefully the audio issues are going to be solved here in a moment. Of course, the crowd is still as hype as ever. And honestly, it's been absolutely awesome here in the United Center today. Like, everybody has been coming alive.
Oh, there it is.
Massive
Speaking of the
amounts
devil.
of EG
Let's see it, Daniel.
Daniel, fire that sucker. Let's see it.
Oh, he wants cheers. He wants to draw.
Oh, yeah. They got to earn it.
Write your suggestions for 100 Thieves draft and then fire it up there. Help them out. How do they get out of this one?
Whoever's got the best draft suggestions. Okay, there we go. All right, Guy Blaze has it now. Let's see it. Oh, come on. I hope they get to shoot it.
Is there one in there? I don't see one in there.
I'm not sure if it's loaded up or not.
Yeah.
I hope so.
We're just modeling it.
Yeah, we're just showing it off.
It does look very cool.
I actually don't even know how you build one that detail. Like, that's pretty impressive.
I don't know. He's right there. I see him. I see you.
All right. Well, I've just been notified they're running to grab a T-shirt. It is not currently loaded.
T-shirt is on the way. We've got a T-shirt on the way.
This is Whiskey Scorpion to Jinx at center. Do you copy?
Powder, over.
The Jinx from Arcane?
Please avoid triple kills. Over.
Honestly, that's kind of the magic that 100 Thieves need to channel, though. It's something akin to that Danny, Powder, triple kill, Danny, pentakill, Steel Baron. Those types of things are what they have to pull out now. A closer Lee Sin, something like that. Something with real magic that is going to change the way this game is going, because last game was just a landslide.
Absolutely, and when you're going into an elimination game like this, which we are now having underway here, you have got to have supreme confidence in whatever you are picking. Give the players what they feel they can dominate on. Kaori not going to be given that Lucian as expected. The Sylas taken away also.
Yup, we've got the Sylas denied, we've got the Lucian denied. Sejuani, Kalista, and Seraphine remaining perma-banned throughout the series, and Wukong again taken out first.
We've come full circle, and this series has validated that 100 Thieves coming into this series wanted to ban the Lucian and the Sylas and put them right back where they belong here. Gonna go with the first pick, Poppy, for that jungle, the playmaking. You know, maybe you can win this around objective fights. You punt out the enemy jungler, try and win that way.
Absolutely. Would be interesting to see, you know, you're expecting Trundle as the answer. That is kind of the standard answer. Will it be the Yuumi Zeri here? In game 2, they did actually forgo taking that Yuumi, and they instead went for the Lulu. They were punished in that. So if you go Yuumi Azir, actually really like this, as long as you're fine playing both Sivir or the Zeri,
right,
your scaling already secured for both bot and mid.
Exactly, and that trade has been basically across all leagues, so they're happy to take either end of it and deny Abbedagge that Azir.
One thing I will ask you though, Kobe, is if you go AD on 3, which we're expecting from EG, that does mean you're not going to get the Trundle. So what do you think Inspire will be looking towards?
Yeah, I'm actually not too worried about Inspire's champion pool. This man has a very deep champion pool, so even if you ban out the Trundle, even if you layer on multiple bans here, there's actually a decent amount that is not at the super highly contested level that perform just fine in the current meta.
Well, I love the fact that they're locking in this Taliyah here. This is a champion we've seen commonly banned in the second half of the drafts throughout the day, and now it's going to be piloted by Abbedagge here, along with that Poppy, along with that Zeri, and there's the Sivir locked in. So the AD carry trade that we predicted, but again, mismatched role bans. So support versus jungle is the difference in what you pick.
I am pretty excited by these changes from 100 Thieves. I like the indexing here into a roaming playmaking mid laner for Abbedagge. This is going to be the necessary difference maker in this series. If 100 Thieves want back in this one, just make full use of this Taliyah. Get out to those side lanes, make some picks, make some plays earlier on before Evil Geniuses scale, because now they're the ones with massive, fearsome scaling.
Absolutely, and Abbedagge 3-0 on the Taliyah, 12.3 KDA, has been very strong on it. It does mean that they lose some of these big support pairings. I'll be interested to see if huhi's going to go towards an enchanter like Renata. That has been kind of highly prized. We saw Sven going towards that a lot when some of the enchanters were getting banned out. We've also seen Janna mixed in, so it will be interesting.
Right, we've got the inspired Trundle ban that we were planning. Ornn also banned away from Impact. Double support bans from EG in Lulu and Alistar. They know what the enemy AD carry is, but not the support. Let's see what they want to lock in. I would expect it to be a jungler, and Inspired will pilot the Jarvan here.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about absorbing some more jungle bans there. He could have gone like the Lee Sin angle as well, but really feeling like with this Jarvan Yuumi combination, that brings a lot of structure to the team fight. He's going to be that front line, set up these scaling Azir and Sivir's carries.
Gonna be so interested. If the Renekton gets locked in, I feel like, okay, so it's gonna be a Amumu support. I am kind of just expecting Aatrox as the answer. It's a pretty skill-based matchup that a lot of top laners do seem to opt into. In fact, could also go towards something like the Gnar, which he is very comfortable on.
Yeah.
If they think that they're gonna focus more towards bot and mid, and he's gonna be more on his lonesome, I think Gnar could make a lot of sense here.
Yeah, the Aatrox is a little bit dangerous early on for getting bullied, and I don't think they want to give up too much pressure there, but if you just go with a giant meatball with 2 lives on the top side of the map.
Yeah, this is something that Renekton will never have that one-shot potential against. He's gonna need a gank to be able to kill this guy. And we've talked so many times before in the past as well, Sion's ulti being a pseudo-teleport, allowing him to constantly handle that threat and absorb that pressure.
Plus, the plays that you're looking for when you have a Taliyah-Renekton combination is, you know, Taliyah roaming up to the Renekton, you W stun into W seismic, shove them back, full combo.
Yep.
When you do that against the Sion, you can get the kill, but you'll just end up with a zombie body in front of you, and it's not as high value as trying to deny and CS2 and get kills on a carry top laner. So I really do like that pick, knowing that they already have the Taliyah mid. He's like, you know what, top side, I'm just gonna play a big tank. I'm gonna soak up the pressure.
Absolutely, and Taliyah plus Poppy also really nice combo, because if you're moving up towards topside for those dives, you can set up the wall for the guaranteed Poppy stun there too, but they can attack both sides of the map. It's gonna be a really interesting early few minutes.
It's so important for 100 Thieves to have everybody on the same page here in this game. They've got the Renekton for the early plays. They've got Taliyah for roaming around, but everyone's got to be able to execute together. They got ran over in game 3, and now they got another chance here in game 4. All right, let's do it. This is the last game of the day if Evil Geniuses get their way, but 100 Thieves still have a chance to take us to Silver Scrapes and get that revenge from Spring. Abbedagge on the Taliyah for the first time, and Ssumday's on the Lizard.
And 100 Thieves have made a lot of these adjustments that people are looking for. More aggressive lane matchups across the board. So much playmaking ability this game for 100 Thieves, completely different from what we've seen so far.
And I'm expecting Inspired here, you know, with the phase rush, a little bit atypical for the Jarvan, that he is just going to be going full-on tank. He's playing it for the utility, being able to get in and out of some of these more slippy situations.
And the mind games continuing to be played by these players in the all chat, opening it up. Jojo wasted no time getting in there, trying to 5-head mind game him. He said, no cheese bottom, level 1, level 2 here from the Poppy. Care for the cheese ganks, trying to assuage him of these doubts.
I mean, JoJo's definitely a talker, and it's just like before the game in the pregame lobby, he's trying to get in the heads of their opponents for sure.
And it seems like it's part of EG's game plan. JoJo's talking trash, Inspired's always spamming emotes and dancing on top of people whenever he's winning. These guys really play the mental game against their opponents.
Well, there's gonna be no level 2 cheese ganks towards the bottom lane, that's for sure. Both junglers starting towards the top side of the map.
Okay, 100 Thieves really looking to start things off here nice and violent at level 1 in the 2v2, but FBI's got to try to get away now. A lot of damage coming out, 100 HP remaining.
And he only has one potion. This is a call start here, so really gets punished on the retreat. That's what you have to be careful about against these enchanters when you're playing engaged. The open of the fight looks so good, but what is the back end of it going to look like?
Exactly, and when you're playing against Sivir, who gets the extra move speed on attacking, really perfect champion for chasing you down for the better trades. Inspired, level 2, has come all the way down, seen on a ward though.
Well, they managed to get FBI away to safety, but that means huhi is all alone underneath the turret, but it is an Amumu. He does have CC. The dive would almost surely be a 1-for-1.
And since you're doing a regular clear here from Closer, even though he will show on that ward, he is going to be an extra camp ahead of Inspired, just very efficiently full clearing, and it's going to be even 2 camps by the time Inspired gets back to his Grom.
This is a little bit scary though. In mid lane here, Abbedagge already used all his Corruption Potion charges and is getting shoved in very heavily here by JoJo, who's up ATS, and normally you say, well, he's going to be able to collect all that, but when you're this low, I don't know how easy it's going to be for him to pick up all the farm.
Right, he's having a tough time early on. JoJo's Azir owning this mid lane matchup 3 minutes in, about to crash this wave into the turret, and you can see Abbedagge staying back, 100 HP left. It is so dangerous to stick around here.
This is a reoccurring part of Evil Genius's strategy. They know, because they've got JoJo, who plays so aggressively in all these matchups, they want to get early wards for him around that mid lane to make sure on this level 3 he can push in as hard as he wants, because that ward by Raptors, they see the Poppy, they know where Closer is, he just wants to bully these matchups to the fullest.
And he's doing a really great job of that throughout the series. I think he has been getting the better of Abbedagge in these 1v1s, has been working really well with Inspired also here. And it's going to have a great early base, has TP available. They're looking for the dive, though, on top side.
Impact going to be shoved backwards. They're trying to get the combo damage, but it ain't enough. Sion is too tanky. Meanwhile, on the bottom side of the map, Inspired will once again be looking at the bottom lane of 100 Thieves.
And look at the minimap. Because they had Taliyah half roam, it's an instant recall channel there from Impact. They had no vision of the Taliyah either. It could have been a 3-person dive. So Impact, he plays it safe. He fully channels the recall. He's out of there. He'll teleport right back. It is both summoners blown from that Sion, but he's not going to take any chances giving over the early first blood.
Exactly. I think it's really, really smart. Just absorb that pressure. Yes, he spends those summoners, but he's back to full health, and he should be able to stay around in lane long enough to get 6. Then you kind of get that pseudo return to lane with the ulti. So Impact doing his job up on that top side, and it's going to be up to Inspired to try to make something of that on the bottom side. But thus far, 100 Thieves bot lane have played with respect to where Inspired could be and have not fallen prey to any of these early Jarvan looks.
And they found out where he was as well. Closer showed up as Inspired was finishing off the Krugs. They chased him out of the jungle, so they know he had to retreat, which gives the bottom lane the chance to do this. Now they can play aggro, now they can push up, but the problem is those trades are a little tough when the Boomerang Blade hits both.
Yeah, absolutely. It does cost the heal, but notice how Vulcan detaches to actually block the Amumu Q there, allowing Kaori to just go aggressive.
And then meanwhile, as you can see on the mini-map, the ramifications of that top lane difference, we had a very deep invade from Ssumday plus Closer with the Renekton Poppy using that top lane push up there to get some super deep wards. And actually forced Inspired all the way back out of his own jungle, only to go back and get his Krugs as his Raptors were stolen.
Bottom lane gonna be shoved up here as Kaori's just trying to keep control of this, get this wave to crash into the turret.
And it's tough because FBI, again, out of sustain here. He's just on the call. When he went back to base early, he didn't have enough for anything except that refillable. It is the D-Blade plus the call on the other side, and the sustain of this Yuumi really shining through. So gonna be able to get the push here. They're close to taking down the first turret plate of the game.
Exactly. Feels so good to be able to push in and get turret plate money for the Sivir side of this matchup. When you're playing into the Amumu and you're just constantly chucking them down, if you get an early lead in this matchup with the Yuumi Sivir scaling, it is massive for Evil Geniuses.
Absolutely is, and FBI can't really base because the cannon wave has already passed. If you base on this wave, you lose the full wave. So his tempo is going to be really, really messed up. EG likely to actually go for a play here, try to take that down themselves, but it's going to be tough now for FBI because the backs could be desynced with Amumu, who's moving out towards mid.
Yeah, the only next window for 100 Thieves that they could try and turn that matchup around would be on the level 6 for the Amumu and see if they can get that all in. But with Kaori having both summoner spells and spell shield to deal with it, it seems like a very difficult task to pull off unless they're able to get a roam from the Taliyah. That mid lane pick that we're talking about invested so much in there, 400 Thieves.
All right, the minion wave crashes, doing a little bit more damage to that turret. First plate pretty much gone, and Inspired still not finding anything just yet. Closer either. 7 minutes in and no first blood is a bit of a slow early game for this series.
Yeah, it has been. Closer doing a lot of maneuvering in the jungle, though, to steal away camps from Inspired, make him pay for the time that he spent going bottom, leaving behind wards in his jungle, which he just finds now, and alerts him to his position once again. So the lead for 100 Thieves is in Closer, the level 6 Poppy here, but it's really dangerous if they're not able to transfer it into a lane.
And Closer has gone for that Ionian Lucidity boot rush that Isaac was talking about, is normally the play on tank junglers. Has the Bomby Cinder for the extra clearing power as well. As Abbedagge sets up the seismic shove in mid lane, but they do not have what they need to finish him off. Jojo will dash away to safety.
Yeah, not enough damage in the tank to actually knock him down, but at the very least, the roam from huhi allows Abbedagge to collect most of that farm. But that being said, it's still ATS in mid lane. It's a good ATS in bot lane. Top lane is dead even. So yeah, J4 is down a bit on gold to Closer, but you gotta be really happy, I think, with these early couple minutes here from the EG side once more.
Yeah, I love this Sion build. Rushing the Warden's Mail, it reduces so much damage here from the Renekton, reduces that threat of the one-shot, of these combos. Impact is doing so incredibly well here in the tank matchup on top side. Hasn't given any extra advantage over to 100 Thieves, and the time for his flash has elapsed. He's come all the way back up.
If you're playing a hyper-scaling, infinity health extra tank versus Renekton, and you're down one farm at 8.5 minutes, early game's going phenomenal.
Absolutely, and it's just been a problem because Jojo winning the 1v1 means Abbedagge can't get out on the map and actually affect these plays, right? Normally you'd say, okay, well, Warden's Veil has no health, he has no MR built up, so Abbedagge can be the damage that he actually needs to burst down this Sion. But because Jojo has been relentlessly pushing and trading with Abbedagge, he's been locked in mid lane and hasn't been able to affect the map.
Uh-oh, bottom side, Kaori's gonna get jumped on. Has to try to get away here. The Yuumi ulti used for the disengage, as well as the heal, as well as the cleanse. EG's gonna keep their AD carry alive.
Yeah, 100 Thieves don't get the successful kill onto EG, but they do get the Rift Herald. So Poppy gonna get out with the Rift Herald and make a top play while Inspired dives bottom.
Inspired's looking to pick something up, and he ain't getting out. First blood over to JoJo.
And in the pockets of the Azir, that is going to mean so much here for EG. The Herald gets dropped top, so they got to get a lot.
Exactly, the Herald there from closer, used on top lane, takes the whole tower for the Renekton, for Ssumday to really accelerate this champ.
Huge extra burst of gold for 100 Thieves, now up about 1,000. They're gonna get the second charge for some permanent damage onto that tier 2, setting them up to maybe revisit this later. But now everybody's coming back towards the mid lane. JoJo grabbing that first kill, like we mentioned, feels really good for him. And with that gold being spent in the top lane, knocking that turret down, that just puts more pressure on Ssumday's Renekton to find flanks, find angles, and find fights nice and early.
Absolutely, because with that Herald dropped up, or with the pressure up there, he's now up in farm, and he's up to 800 gold. Has the early Blade of the Rune King already completed here. That is going to be a massive spike. Closer is the rest of their gold lead, collecting those plates there as well. So that top side has to continue pushing the game forward here. Renekton is not going to match up with the Azir and the Sivir and these champions in the later stages, so he needs to be getting work done now.
And if they want to try to make a play on the other side of the map, Sivir doesn't have cleanse for now. They don't have the heal on the Yuumi for now. There is more potential down there. We've seen 100 Thieves be able to find that. With these down, that's the time they need to go.
It's also worth noting, JoJo going into Crown of the Shattered Queen, so he thinks that 100 Thieves style is all about the upfront burst, about hitting the Amumu wall, hitting the seismic shift, everything instantly, trying to burst you down, and the Crown is gonna really stop that. He just has to be sure that it's not getting poked off.
Yeah, and him getting a really, really early completion on it, because he's been winning this lane, pushing so hard from mid as well, is a big power spike to try and look towards Dragon next.
Oh man, oh man, oh man. This is a nice, close early game. Remember, the previous game was about a 3,500 gold difference for Evil Geniuses in game number 3. So 100 Thieves much happier about the way this one is going, but not as happy to see EG starting up the Drake. They've got a 4-man squad there, and they're teleporting in the 5th. But 100 Thieves are looking to stop him. Huhi's going in. 3-man ulti. Kaori flashes over the wall as Inspired holds him at bay.
Ooh.
But FBI's got the kill. Can they fight anymore? Yes. Inspired is down. It's 2 for 100 Thieves.
100 Thieves pull the trigger before the teleport from Impact even gets there. Immediately, no hesitation from 100 Thieves in game number 4. Must-win scenario. Huhi goes in. They get the ulti, they get the kills, and they get the dragon.
But they aren't done. JoJo tries to fight, but JoJo just gets slammed. Vulcan takes some extra loot, 100 Thieves. 2 for nothing on the back end.
100 Thieves just got paid there. 2.5K ahead now. Ssumday farming plates even in mid lane. They get it all.
100 Thieves want that game 5 with every fiber of their being. They want that revenge. Let's take a look at this. And the key is not waiting the critical seconds for the Sion to arrive. Huhi says, I'll just go first. They get there even before the carries have arrived. An immediate collapse onto Kaori. FBI over the wall. Adds the extra damage to finish him off.
No spell shield on that initial bandage toss. Probably wanted to save it for the ulti, but wasn't expecting Closer to instant flash in and hit the wall stun that just layers everything perfectly together. Kaori's just knocked out of the fight immediately.
Beautiful team fighting, beautiful target selection. And then you can see JoJo just hanging around. He thought maybe with Impact there, maybe with them trying to find something, but no, it was 100 Thieves winning the back end of the fight as well. 3,000 gold ahead. They got the Drake. That's going to be a lot of item completions coming in once they shop too. Huge for 100 Thieves.
It's such a big momentum breaker. From the last game, Evil Geniuses had just stomped them so hard, rolling over them so hard. But 100 Thieves will get so much out of this play, both in-game and mentally here. Huge, huge boon. Now they're thinking, how do we push this ahead? We have to control the map, push out on side lane first. We've got the Taliyah ultimate coming up pretty soon. So until that happens, we'll shadow him as he pushes out while this top tower is down. This is the longest area of the map we can make a play.
And there's no neutral objectives currently on the map. There's nothing to force a fight over. So any plays that happen are going to have to be made over somebody overextending, somebody being caught. Closer on the Poppy, 2-0-2, 100% kill participation. The only one other than FBI to have that. This guy is in a perfect spot to enable the game. We always talk about how much of a clutch player Closer is, how he can show up so big in these big moments. And here in game number 4 at Do or Die, I got my eyes on that Poppy.
Absolutely. I mean, he's been looking really, really good. Inspired tried to look for some early moves down towards bot side, but it was always worded out, and it allowed Closer the extra time to farm those additional camps to get ahead in gold and XP, and then really pay it forward with that early herald towards topside. Ssumday gets paid, and all of a sudden, everything is really rolling for 100 Thieves.
And it's rolling right on down mid lane. They'll shove that wave up, try to get some control. Jojo dashing out of the way of the seismic shove, making sure he doesn't get picked. But this 100 Thieves 4-man squad is roaming around, and they're looking for trouble.
Exactly. They're trying to control this area between mid and bottom, allowing this Renekton, pushing it on the Sion, trying to get some more pressure on these towers, slowly chipping away at them. They're going to teleport Abbedagge to push out on the top wave first, where that extra tower is already down. And again, get them the first move. You teleport up there, now you've got 30 seconds of that minion wave moving forward to transition down to Rift Herald number 2 and keep your advantage rolling.
Absolutely, and that lead has really afforded them some of this vision that is pushing forward into the enemy jungle here, trying to keep eyes on where Inspired could be approaching from. They see Kaori in mid lane looking for the push in there to try to move potentially into the river, but there's not going to be any sort of a chance to really contest it.
And you always look for the next step for 100 Thieves. Okay, teleport top, push it out so we can get Rift Herald. Then rotate the Rift Herald, kill mid tower, then you can set up for Dragon, only 1 minute and 15 seconds away. The timing for 100 Thieves here is working out like clockwork. Pop this one, continue those advantages rolling, shove evil geniuses out so that you can try and force that game 5.
And I love to see this level of mental coordination. I love to see this level of calm, cool collectedness, especially after a game like game number 3. They aren't shaken, they aren't messed up, they're ready to go when they got a plan.
And it looks like Closer is electing to just hold on to it until Dragon spawn. Wants to use it to try to secure potentially that Dragon. Drop the Herald, raise it spawning, use that for mid-prio, get the crash, and force AG to respond to it while you're actually taking away that bigger objective of the Dragon.
Exactly. It's a very effective distraction in those situations, and there's only 30 seconds until that Drake spawns.
Yeah, they've rotated Abbedagge up to the top side of the map, and currently he's sitting on Ghost Flash, so they actually are going to be very delayed on that Dragon, bringing over their mid laner. That champion can cover a lot of territory, but has to start heading right back now. So he leaves that extra minion wave, and here we go. This is the combo play.
And it will get this first turret automatically as well. The turret is too low health to survive a charge from the Herald. That'll run in. Headbutt immediately secures it. EG does not want to allow this to get a second charge if they can stop it.
Yeah, we'll see if they're going to be able to stop it or not, but they just have no vision. You actually look towards the bot side jungle. It's only 100 Thieves wards down there. No way for them to safely approach the Dragon.
And you saw huhi throw out the bandage toss. If that hit, they were ready to go for the dive because they had man advantage. They were ready to pull the trigger, but they don't get the chance. Now they'll rotate down back into the river and look for the Drake.
Exactly. You keep extra objectives here for 100 Thieves. 2 towers out of the Rift Herald towards mid. Still get the Dragon, and the only payment that you give is 1 tower to Evil Geniuses for the split pushing Azir. And even then, he's having trouble getting that thing down in time.
And there's not even an objective bounty on it yet.
Yep.
It's not like you're getting any bonus money for taking out that tier 1, so this trade feels incredible for 100 Thieves.
Absolutely, they're looking really, really good. Both towers in mid lane, they're going to get a bot tier 1 for that top tier 2. They get the Dragon. They really are taking over in this game. It feels like the shoe is on the other foot, and we're just kind of in these inverse situations that we were in last game. So we have to see, can EG handle themselves from behind better than their opponents did? They're looking for Ssumday.
They're after the Croc, but they can't get him. The Yuumi ulti's not going to land. Ssumday now gets slowed up, trying to escape the Sion Q. They can't charge it long enough for the stun, and Ssumday completes his great escape.
Yeah, Impact not able to find the ankle on the flash to continue the connection of that Yuumi ult.
And that actually has a pretty big cost. That was a lot of cooldowns used for EG to go for that play. Without Sion ultimate, Yuumi ultimate, Sivir ultimate, now they don't want a team fight in the aftermath. And Ssumday, really nice escape there on the Crocodile because of the blast cone. Able to get away from so much of the Evil Geniuses threat. Now EG have to wait on their cooldowns, and during that time, 100 Thieves just take control, stealing away more from the jungle.
Every single thing they can get their hands on, they want to do so. 100 Thieves keep keeping that gas pedal pressed down. Ssumday working towards that completed Sunfire Cape too to get himself into the middle of the fight and really wreak some havoc.
This is what you want to see at the top of the league. Both teams have been able to effectively snowball their early leads. 100 Thieves this time around pushing out once again. And we shall see. With all these towers down, it gets a lot more dangerous to defend as the team when you're behind. Evil Geniuses have to constantly worry about this Taliyah wall coming from across the map. Plus, Zeri's so good at joining long range from these team fights, and 100 Thieves have all of the tools to force them.
Absolutely. One thing, though, working for AG is they do have incredible wave clear. They do have incredible scaling, right? J4 more of an early game champ, but everything else is all about the late game here. And with Sivir Azir, if you can just continue to keep them away from getting a game-ending buff like the Soul, you have a lot of time here.
So one thing that I do want to comment on here, jojopyun's build, because on top of the Crown of the Shattered Queen, which is a very defensive item, he's also gone with Nashor's Tooth, which is great for DPS, but doesn't have the level of burst as some of the items that we've seen, like a Ludens or a Shadow Flame. So he's not going to be able to insta-give anybody if they get a pick.
And I think it's because you're playing against Taliyah. It's very difficult to actually slide in against the Taliyah rocks. You'll just get stunned up almost always. So he knows he's going to be hitting mostly melee champs. It's going to be about the Amumu, the Poppy, the Renekton, and that's just about maximizing DPS, less about the burst.
Well, Evil Geniuses are now continuing to suffer under the pressure. The top lane tier 2 is being threatened. You can see they knocked Jojo away with that one just to grab a little bit of extra damage. 100 Thieves continue controlling the map, but what is the best play to really push this forward as efficiently as possible?
Well, they have only 2 minutes left on the next dragon, so as long as EG just keeps some vision over the Baron, you're not too worried of the Baron actually getting snuck away from you and want to concentrate on how you can actually either deal with that dragon fight or wait until the actual Soul Dragon fight, delay, and just get something else back on the other side of the map. And since you were talking about the scaling that Evil Geniuses have, they very well may make the choice, hey, we don't want the confrontation now, it's too dangerous, we need to hit our power spikes. We have such good scaling here with the Sivir, Azir, Yuumi, plus even Sion to have an amazing team fight way later into the game. And you just avoid that confrontation, try and trade objectives on the other half of the map.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the only thing they're going to be really willing to contest is the Baron. I don't think they're going to fight for third dragon. Baron is, enough of a threat of game-ending power that they will have to be pushed out. And that's where on the 100 Thieves side, you start to look for the turn, right? And the setup around this is really, really nice when you're playing with the Taliyah, because you can have Taliyah, in an area like this where if we see EG move forward into the pit from this area, you have Taliyah over to the side. Taliyah shoots out a wall like that. You block them off. You look for the engage. And I think that's what we're going to see from 100 Thieves. And we'll have to find out how EG can really handle it.
I think the first step, of course, is going to picking up the dragon before you want to make the more dangerous play. Right. Objective bounties are on the map, so if something goes crazy, that slingshot potential is there.
And I like the fact that you talk about game-ending power, Isaac, because that's what happens to the next Drake if they secure this one.
Yeah.
Then it becomes a ticking time bomb. Baron, Dragon, whatever the objective is, it could end everything. As Jojo slammed to the wall by Closer, who's just watching and waiting, and they force the flash out of the EG mid.
Really nicely done. Jojo is one of those few threats on the other side you have to be really, really concerned about. It's pretty much all about him and Kaori at this point, so getting the flash off him does make it very difficult for AG to do any sort of an aggressive move here.
And 100 Thieves, they're just gonna walk it on down to the Drake. Should be a free objective for them. Yeah, these things are tankier than they used to be, but uncontested, it doesn't matter too much.
And then you can see Evil Geniuses. What can we try and get out of it? At least some vision control around Baron, clear out some of the wards. You have to take that time to get whatever you can in payment for the dragon.
EG just trying to get anything, man. It's such an opposite version of Game 3. They are choked so badly out of so many playmaking opportunities. Closer just running up the dead man's plate. I love this on Poppy for the extra playmaking.
Absolutely, all about the move speed here with the builds. Chemtech plus the Deadmans for all of that additional move speed. And EG also paying respect to the fact that Abbedagge would be coming up from that bottom side river. You can't overplay your hand, because if that Weaver's Wall comes in behind you, you're going to get slammed into it by Closer and by all these members of 100 Thieves that are going to be charging forward. So now that the Dragon is secured, it's about the setup here for 100 Thieves. They know that EG got in, cleared out some vision, probably laid some of their own. So they need to clear all that out and start looking for the threat of the Baron take to draw AG in and then go for the turn.
Yeah, 100 Thieves have so many ways to play out a Baron bait because they have Poppy, you know, just knock out enemy jungler. So many ways you can try and force. And just securing the red buff here, smites it away for closer. They've been successfully able to put in their own vision and take away evil geniuses.
All right, Inspired has to retreat. As soon as he drops the flag, he knows he no longer has a safe escape from these guys without using his flash. This turret was damaged earlier, and now 100 Thieves are looking to force it down. There comes Weaver's wall. They're going to separate them. Can they get it done? Turret's already gone. Damage piles through. EG tries to run, but JoJo's already dead. Inspired and Kaori head back into the base, and Impact has to hobble away too.
Again, no hesitation from the Thieves, and they will take what is theirs. Push them in, take the kills, get the tower, and now head towards Baron.
And that is a wallet diff. You can see the health bars are damaged from 100 Thieves, but those plays are what you earn yourself the right to make when you've built a lead like this.
And you can tell each time, this is before EG want the plays because Impact is not there for either of them. Ssumday trying to play defense here. He's got Abbedagge behind him, so they deny Inspired an easy way towards Baron.
Abbedagge barely missed out on the seismic shove on Inspired there. Baron's down to 2,500. They eject Impact. They're very slowly DPSing. They take the Baron. They take Inspired. JoJo's coming in trying to clean up somebody. Closer's looking for the slam. He won't be able to save huhi. Ssumday's ready to turn it around. He won't find him yet. EG's fighting back. Impact holds the line, but JoJo dives to FBI. Impact trying to keep doing it. Kaori wants to free fire, but Kaori is cut down. EG are cut down, and 100 Thieves run them over.
100 Thieves looking to push us to game number 5 here. They get the Baron, they get the turn for all the kills, and have amassed a 10,000 gold lead, only 25 minutes in.
This is what you get when you get a semifinals of previous LCS champions going head to head. The two most recent winners, they want that spot in the finals. They can see it, and they can almost touch it. Here's another look. Again, the timing on these plays, now you see late arrivals of both of the EG solo laners. By the time they arrive, 100 Thieves have already gotten their first kills.
Absolutely, they burst them down, Impact sliding in there, but it's too little too late. Then in the 3v5, they know the Baron could be the end of the game, so EG's trying to force their way in. Really impressive team fighting, honestly, with just these 3 members, trying to create space for Inspired to get in there. Kaori needs to push these members back to buy that time, but huhi snipes him out as they secure the Baron. But as JoJo respawns, he TPs in, and you start to think, maybe EG can make the magic happen.
But then these stopwatches from 100 Thieves, they buy so much time. JoJo and Ssumday pop theirs at the same time. He goes down. Kaori on the Sivir on the outside, trying to find that kill onto FBI, but Ssumday stops him in his tracks.
Exactly. He forced out the cleanse earlier, he forced out the flash earlier, still had his, so he comes out of the stopwatch, waits till he has the stun, flashing in on that Sivir, stunning him up, guaranteeing the team fight win.
Chugga, 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 chugga. You hear that? That's 100 Thieves train, and it ain't got no brakes. Now they got minion waves. Now they got Baron. Now they're looking at the enemy base. But what's that? A 45-second timer on a Drake Soul. Everything favors the Thieves.
That train sounds an awful lot like Silver Scrapes flowers.
It sounds an awful lot like a Taliyah wall, Kobe, as they're looking to go even further, but they won't find any picks off of it. It does buy enough time for Ssumday to get another wave up in mid, but they still have the cannon minion slowly chipping away at the health of the turret bottom.
It's going to be so hard, though. The map is dark and full of terrors for EG here. They got to get out of the map right now. They know that 100 Thieves can rush down this Drake, take Soul, and effectively end any chance of a comeback here. So will they even try to get out of the map and contest it, or are they just going to turtle up and hope they can make something happen later?
The great thing for 100 Thieves, their Baron buff overlaps the Dragon, so they can keep the lanes pushed, keep Evil Geniuses trapped inside their base, and they don't even get to go take a chance at running at this Dragon. So Dragon Soul secured for the 100 Thieves.
And it makes it so much harder for EG to do anything because you almost have to insta-kill somebody to stand a chance against a 5-digit gold lead. And insta-killing somebody through Mountain Soul, forget about it. Nicely, nicely done from 100 Thieves here in game number 4. They never gave up a single Drake to EG.
Absolutely. It's been dominance in this one for sure. And now it's about how cleanly can 100 Thieves close this one out? Can EG hang on by some miracle with their wave clear to try to find a way in? Now, the opportunities are going to be very slim, if any at all, show themselves.
And if you're talking about wave clear, you can only talk about it for a little bit over 2 more minutes, because that's when the next Baron comes up. That's when 100 Thieves can just force that. EG, if you're in their shoes, you know you can't give away the Baron, so they'll be beckoned to come and fight, and that fight will favor the Thieves.
Exactly. So guess what is #1 objective for EG right now? Get some vision to a pathway towards Baron. Get some way so that you don't have to give up 90% of your health bar to get in place to contest that Baron.
And I like the luxury items here being picked up on the 100 Thieves side. GA in bot lane, GA in top lane, stopwatch in the mid lane, shutting down any sort of an opportunity that even one pick will afford.
Because you're at this point of the game where one more fight automatically wins you the game, picking these one fight items is such a good choice to guarantee the extra value, guarantee you send us to game 5, and guarantee that we get silver scrapes in the United Center.
They're just watching the clock count down towards the spawn of Baron. EG have no other recourse. They will be trapped with pushing lanes in their face the entire time until Baron spawns. And just the patrolling done by 100 Thieves and FBI through this jungle, keeping their vision up, not letting EG do any sort of early work there.
5 items Zeri. Very, very scary stuff. Even if she doesn't have an enchanter right next to her, the DPS potential is through the roof.
Absolutely. FBI has been playing such a good game. And I mean, this playoffs has been so incredibly competitive. Just barely spot on that war was the Poppy. This would be the 8th series that has gone all 5 games if it is closed out here by 100 Thieves.
And I'm really glad to see 100 Thieves were able to make those adjustments. They've been so much more proactive and quick with their plays this time around.
Yep.
No hesitation so far this game. Let's see if they can keep it up to push it to the final one.
20 seconds remaining until the Baron spawns. You know 100 Thieves is going to be there. They're going to be ready to go. Ssumday has his Unleashed teleport ready, so he can take up position in other places on the other side of the map. Impact trying to steal away that Scuttle Crab, but he won't get it. Not that important anyway, because it's not near the objective that EG may want to fight over. But here it is. Baron spawns, and 100 Thieves is right on it, and they're melting through the health. Keep your eyes on Inspired. He's the only one who could possibly do anything about it, but Abbedagge says no. Throws out the wall that keeps him away. Back to Baron for 100 Thieves.
Really clean take there from 100 Thieves. Inspired, seeing if there's any sort of an opportunity, but knows with the Weaver's Wall down, he'd have to use a flag drag to even get over it. Wouldn't really be able to get into the pit without just blind flashing, so it's not even worth the attempt. Now it's just about turtling up for them, seeing if they can hold on to maybe be ready for something like an Elder fight. But 100 Thieves are looking to close out here right now. They want to push up all these lanes with the Baron buff and look to deal lethal damage.
And EG trying to focus on these minion waves. Every minion wave you attack can buy you 30 more seconds of life, and that's just what they want. They're living in these 30-second time frames because 100 Thieves are coming knocking at the door.
Well, once this fight starts, 100 Thieves wants to end it in less than one of those time frames. Evil Geniuses full on defense. It's survival mode now for Evil Geniuses. 100 Thieves applying pressure in mid, in top. 3-man squad top side. Closer bouncing back and forth between top and mid. Ssumday's on the split. Closer goes in. He finds the slam into the wall, into the jungle, into the kill. Jojo is down. They kill Inspired. 100 Thieves, 2 for 1 at the start.
Who else but Closer finding the engage there, taking down Jojo. And 100 Thieves now on the march here, looking to press their advantage as much as they can.
Evil Geniuses trying to rotate Kaori over to mid, make sure they can't get both inhibs. But 100 Thieves, they're just looking at the Nexus. A TP to bring one more back into the fray. Abbedagge rejoined, and the first Nexus turret is down. They're gonna grab a kill. Say goodnight to Impact. Say goodnight to the rest of Evil Geniuses. And say hello to game number 5. 100 Thieves are put to the test, and they pass with flying colors.
So much credit to the 100 Thieves front line. Again, this whole game, it was critical that they're engaged, not hesitate. And every single time they see an EG carry out, boom, instantly engaged. Bandage toss or flash charge from Closer. every single time, and they effectively snowball that lead. They had to avoid that scaling from EG, and they did. They took it right to them. They showed that they can play early.
Huhi and Closer were so on point in that game, always instantly following up on the other's moves when they look for these aggressive plays. And it's so interesting in a playoffs that I think has been largely dominated by scaling, that this series, our semifinals, is being dominated by more early game plays, right? It has been Lucian Nami, both the wins for EG, and here it is 100 Thieves going towards Renekton, going towards Taliyah, forgoing some of the scaling to really look for aggressive moves, to be the ones that actually can dictate the pace of the game.
And that more risky, aggressive, early game style being rewarded here is exciting because that is inherently more risky style of play to pull off, and they've executed on it every time.
This is going to be the first time we get silver scrapes in a live arena in years. Remember that Houston was back-to-back 3-0s. This one's about to go the distance. But for now, we're heading back over to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you so much, Flowers. And Jet, we should have known better.
Dude,
it's 2022 Summer Split. We should have known better. Yeah. We're going to 5.
What am I doing predicting 3-0? I'm so dumb sometimes. Like, every single loser's bracket game this playoffs, all 6 series have gone to 5 games. It's the absolute maximum number of lower bracket games. That record will never be beaten. It can only be equaled.
Not until we expand to 20 teams. But
there we go.
Absolutely.
God.
It's incredible every single time.
Emily, we asked 100 Thieves to find a response, and I'd say they did so emphatically there.
Yeah, so this is really interesting. Obviously, the OP pick here is Poppy. Like, this is the name of the game in the series. Other cool things I like outside of that is I really like the Taliyah for Abbedagge. Obviously, we've talked about how good his Azir is and how they've been prioritizing that for him in previous drafts. Another interesting thing to come out is the huhi Amumu.
Yeah.
I actually was a little bit shaky on this when I was watching this draft. I was like, I could have gone for another enchanter, like maybe the Soraka, which we've seen over in LEC as an enchanter trade. However, I was wrong, obviously, because huhi has a very good initiation sense, right? So this ties into what we said with how strong 100 Thieves team fighting is.
Yeah, and even though some of the early skirmishes bot lane were bad, like
it was a little rough early.
Yeah, the later fights were just great because they wanted to have more engage options. I was interested in either maybe going the Nautilus, but the Amumu is something that huhi actually did so well on during this playoff run. And so we just rolled the clip. This is where we talk about it being quite poor early. And, you know, they had a bad early trade that put them in a position like this, and it's just great to be able to see, as a small point, Kaori and Vulcan just perform well in lane throughout.
Right here,
this is where the game broke open.
Yeah.
You can say Kaori should have spell shielded. He'd still get hit by the Sivir ultimate and the wall slam from Poppy. So I do think that with the go button, 100 Thieves was able to win the pivotal fights.
Yeah, and I mean, that's where when we started at top of day, right, we were like, what are 100 Thieves' strengths? Like, Raz, you talked about EG picking these early skirmishes and then being able to snowball their lead from there, which tied well into what Kaori was able to do with pushing bot lanes. Jat, you then talked about how strong 100 Thieves, like, mid to late game team fighting is. And this is exactly where we're seeing it. And again, I have to re-hit on that huhi Amumu pick because he is someone with such a strong initiation sense, and the rest of this team seems so comfortable when it comes to these 5v5 fights.
But also, Raz, we had talked about EG. They're going to look for those early fights, and they like to press forward and put the pressure on. That dragon fight, that might eat at them a little bit. I don't feel like compositionally they needed to go for that or put themselves in that position.
Exactly. Remember, it was pre-14 minutes, so that was actually a Sion TP on the turret. He actually had quite a long road to join his team, whereas the Renekton was just there. So it was going to be tough. They probably thought that they could play it back and play it slow. That wasn't the case. And also, Closer coming out of vision with a flash E into the wall made it so we got to this point of the game where it felt really unwinnable for Evil Geniuses. Just take a look at this.
Woo.
Ooh.
I mean, again, so to follow that Game 3 loss with a victory like that is why I say it's an emphatic statement, you know, and honestly, it makes me really wonder how you can pick a favorite going into Game 5.
Well, and it's really interesting because I think we saw the massive snowball from EG, right? Setting a record for gold difference. And then in this, they have a strong team fight and composition here, right? Like we did the Sivir Zeri trade, we have the Yuumi, we have the Azir, we have some initiation from J4 and the Sion for like a meat shield and more initiation, and they just don't nearly look as comfortable, especially when going up against how coordinated 100 Thieves can be in these fights.
Yeah, Kaori only winning his games on Lucian means I believe that's going to remain a 100 Thieves ban, especially for Game 5. But what I find so interesting in terms of comfort and the team's willingness to opt into aggression, I feel like in so many playoff series of the past, when the pressure goes high, the scaling gets better. And the people that are picking Azir, Orange, Sivir are the ones that are winning. That's the opposite of what's happened in these last two games. Azir, Sivir, Yuumi just got slammed. The game before that, largest gold lead we've had all year because EG picked early game and Reaper and 100 Thieves decided to draft scaling in Game 3. We could possibly have the most aggressive Game 5 ever because scaling just doesn't work right now.
All right, well, this is what I was waiting for when it comes to this conversation about what the teams want to bring out in their 5th and final game. Do or die for both sides. Evil Geniuses with side select. They're going to hop to blue side, Raz.
Yeah, and if there's one person or at least one lane that's going to be ultra confident going into the game 5, it should be Kaori and Vulcan. Even in their losses, they were performing quite well in lane. They might go back, and I know a point that you'd mentioned is that the Kalista ban is going to remain solid. The Lucian ban's probably going to be the same. So it's going to be interesting to see what pick Kaori then goes to, because it's not just stops at those two. If he's willing to give the Zeri and Sivir along to the opposite side, he has a Draven that oftentimes isn't looked at. It was played a little bit in Academy, but that team wasn't the strongest. And so it just means that for 100 Thieves, they have to be a little bit more aware of that going into this one. If two teams want to clash heads early, then that means maybe bailing out bot lane, either in the draft, but certainly if you're in a bad matchup in the game.
Yeah, the most curious thing to me is obviously we've seen Kalista remain a red side ban, right?
Yeah.
But one thing that 100 Thieves has refused to give up is the Sejuani. So then if they decide to continue to just ban the Lucian because they don't want EG to first pick it on blue side, then I'm really curious if they go for, you know, Azir first pick. Like, it opens up the draft a little bit more, and that is the other thing. I'm really glad you brought up the Draven, because I think Kaoru might be comfortable in that as well.
And I think it's important to look at the Game 3 draft, the last time that EG was on blue side, now that they've lost on red and they can go back. And what are the pivots that are going to be made from here? Because I want Lucian to be banned, but that means Renekton, Kalista, or Sejuani drop. If I'm going to drop a ban, it's likely going to be the Sejuani ban, and you're going to swap that out for a Lucian ban, and then we'll see how the series progresses from there. Weirdly enough, Azir and Yuumi have kind of be traps. I think because it can provide so much early pressure, first Dragon, first Rift Herald, I think it's probably something that could be worth a ban.
And both teams have been really hungry going for this, and this just has to be, like, taking a step back, my favorite playoffs. Just in memory, I don't remember a better one just because of how competitive teams are. You know, I counted out TSM in that series, and that one went the distance. The same could be said about CLG. I counted out Golden Guardians, and even though they lost, they went to 5 games. So, like, you're right about how the bottom bracket has gone. This one is just so important, at least for the players involved, because for Evil Geniuses, winning a championship and then falling flat here, it's going to smear. It's going to suck, especially for players like jojopyun that is playing wild in the bottom bracket.
Yeah, and to re-hit upon it, like, this is our finals rematch, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, whoever goes to face C9 basically has a chance. Like, 100 Thieves have a chance to win their second title. EG would have a chance to win their second title. So that's another, like, kind of pressure point that is building and building, as C9 are just kind of waiting to find out who their opponent is.
That's always the final piece of the puzzle, right, Jet? Like, we talk about how, there's plenty of veteran experience on these stages. Sure, they've been in tough situations before, but you cannot prepare for Game 5 in an arena with tens of thousands of people. That's just that you don't get to practice that.
You
can't
really
do
don't.
that.
I can't wait to see how Kaori performs in particular.
Yeah.
And also, with the backs against the wall, where the veteran performances come out. Like, for instance, when I look at JoJo, he plays exactly the same no matter what the stakes are. Like, everyone else is playing in Game 5, JoJo is just playing on Tuesday. Like, it feels very much like a standard game for them. But having a new player could change that dynamic. And then 100 Thieves, like, the closer, is the clutch Game 5 player. So I don't see any of these teams getting worse under the pressure, which just makes me really excited for this match.
And that's why I know that you talk about the bot lane, obviously going to be relevant in Game 5, Raz, but I kind of go back to impact in the top lane. Like, I get it, compositionally, you wanted the Sion to slot in. This is not the champ you should be putting him on when you're trying to get over the finish line in a best of 5, this is the one guy who always delivers in the postseason. I want to see them invest into him. Let's get that Gangplank back out, if possible, or something of the likes.
Or he picks the Renekton or something involved. He always has a pocket pick that he's willing to go to. And just being involved in the early fights is important.
Mordekaiser.
Not happening. I'm just
So
shutting that down.
I'm always waiting for
Are
it.
you two
Really
staying with
want
100
that.
Thieves?
I'm staying at 100.
I'm going to stay with EG.
Okay.
Emily?
I'll stay. I mean, like I said,
Stick with your guns.
I never flip flop.
Yeah.
I will take the L. If I'm wrong,
Okay.
so be it.
I flip-flop all the time. I flip-flop
Just not now.
whichever,
Flip-flop.
whichever direction the wind blows. No, I'm sticking with 100 Thieves here. I believed in them from the beginning. I'll stick around with them through the end. This is the moment we have all been waiting for. Back in an arena, packed house. Silver Scrapes on the playlist. Let's make some noise. Let's get hype for game number 5. United Center, Chicago. Let's go.